井号 turbulence at 31 feet. Marcus Chen adjusted the strap of his leather bag as he walked through the bustling airport terminal. The Friday afternoon crowd moved like a river around him, travelers rushing to catch flights home for the weekend. He checked his boarding pass one more time. Seat 12A. Window seat. Perfect for the 3-hour flight back to Seattle. Marcus had just closed the biggest deal of his career, a software contract that would change his company forever. He smiled, thinking about how proud his mother would be. The gate attendant scanned his ticket, and he headed down the jetway, ready to celebrate this victory in the air. The aircraft cabin smelled like recycled air and coffee. Marcus made his way down the narrow aisle, nodding politely at seated passengers. He found row 12 and began lifting his bag toward the overhead compartment. That was when he felt her presence. Valerie, according to her name tag, stood with arms crossed, her blonde hair pulled back so tight it seemed to stretch her face. Her blue eyes tracked his every movement like a hawk watching prey. "Excuse me, sir. That bag looks too large for the overhead bin," Valerie said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. Marcus glanced at his bag, then at the identical-sized bags already stored above. "It is the same size as those others. I have flown with this bag dozens of times. Well, I am the authority on this aircraft, and I say it needs to be checked," she insisted, stepping closer. Other passengers turned to watch. Marcus felt their eyes burning into his back. He took a slow breath, keeping his voice steady and calm. "Miss Valerie, I respectfully disagree. This bag meets all carry-on requirements. I have my measurements right here on my phone if you would like to see them." Valerie's face flushed red. She snatched the bag from his hands and shoved it into the compartment with ease. It fit perfectly. She said nothing, just glared at him before spinning on her heel and marching toward the galley. Marcus settled into his seat, fastening his seatbelt with hands that trembled slightly. Not from fear. From anger he had learned long ago to control. 20 minutes into the flight, after the seatbelt sign had dimmed off, Marcus pulled out his laptop to review some contracts. He was deep in concentration when Valerie's voice crackled over the speaker system. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a serious situation on board. A passenger has stolen items from the overhead compartment. We are conducting an investigation immediately." Marcus looked up, confused. Murmurs rippled through the cabin like wind through wheat fields. Valerie appeared at his row, her face twisted into something between triumph and disgust. She pointed directly at him. "You! Stand up! Now," she commanded. "What are you talking about?" Marcus asked, genuinely bewildered. "A passenger reported that you were seen going through bags in the overhead compartment. I need you to open your bag immediately," Valerie demanded, loud enough for half the plane to hear. Marcus felt his heart hammering against his ribs. This could not be happening. Not today. Not after everything had gone so right. I have not touched anyone else's belongings. I have been sitting here working this entire time. "Open the bag," Valerie repeated, each word dropping like a stone. The passenger in 12B, an elderly woman with kind eyes, spoke up softly. "I have been sitting right here." He has not moved from his seat. Valerie ignored her completely. "Sir, if you do not comply, I will have no choice but to alert the captain and have you arrested upon landing." Marcus stood slowly, reaching for the overhead bin. His hands shook now, not from anger anymore, but from the injustice of it all. How many times would he have to prove his innocence for crimes he never committed? He pulled down his bag and unzipped it, revealing his laptop charger, some documents, a change of clothes, and a book his daughter had given him. "See? Nothing that does not belong to me," Marcus said quietly, but Valerie was not finished. She began pulling items out, inspecting each one as if searching for hidden contraband. Other passengers shifted uncomfortably in their seats. A man in row 14 pulled out his phone and started recording. A woman near the front whispered to her companion, shaking her head in disgust. That was when two people stood up from seats in first class. They wore casual clothes, but they moved with purpose and authority. The man was tall with gray hair and serious eyes. The woman beside him was younger, with dark skin and an expression that could freeze fire. Federal Aviation Administration, the man announced, pulling out credentials. Investigator James Morrison. This is Investigator Lisa Santos. We need everyone to remain calm and seated. Valerie's face went from red to white in seconds. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. We have been conducting a sting operation on this flight following multiple complaints about discriminatory behavior by crew members on this route, Lisa Santos explained, her voice carrying authority through every syllable. Miss Valerie Henderson, you are being removed from duty effective immediately, pending a full investigation. The cabin erupted in whispers and gasps. Marcus stood frozen, his belongings scattered across his seat. James Morrison approached him with an apologetic expression. Mr. Chen, I apologize for what you have endured today. We needed to observe the situation unfold naturally to document the pattern of behavior. Your complaint from last month, along with 17 others, triggered this investigation. Marcus blinked, processing the words. Last month. He had filed a report after a different flight attendant had treated him with similar hostility. He never imagined anything would come of it. He certainly did not expect this. Valerie tried to speak, her voice cracking. I was just doing my job. I was protecting the other passengers. From what exactly? Lisa Santos asked, her eyebrow raised. From a businessman traveling home after closing a major deal. From a father carrying a book his daughter gave him. Your job is to ensure passenger safety, not to target individuals based on your personal prejudices. Security personnel appeared at the front of the aircraft. The captain's voice came over the speaker, apologizing to passengers for the delay and thanking them for their patience. Valerie was escorted off the plane, her shoulders hunched, her earlier confidence completely evaporated. The elderly woman in B reached over and patted Marcus's hand. I am so sorry you had to experience that, young man. But I am glad justice was served. Other passengers nodded, some offering quiet apologies for not speaking up sooner. The man who had been recording approached and offered to send Marcus the footage if needed for any proceedings. Marcus accepted, grateful for the solidarity he had not expected to find at 30,000 feet. As the plane finally took off, Marcus gazed out the window at the clouds below. The sky stretched endless and blue, full of possibility. He thought about his daughter, about the world she would inherit. Today felt like a small victory in a much larger battle. But small victories mattered. They added up. They created change. Justice had arrived seconds before despair could take root. And that gave Marcus something precious. Hope.